Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we are taking your newly built Solana dApp and we're putting it straight on the dyno. Now, if you're a car enthusiast, you already know the dynamometer is where you strap a vehicle down, floor the accelerator, and wait to see exactly when the engine starts smoking. And honestly, building a decentralized application is one thing, but making sure it actually survives the wild, high-speed, and frankly chaotic environment of Web3, that is exactly what performance benchmarking and load testing are all about. We're going to systematically measure what your dApp can handle right before it spectacularly explodes.
So, in our previous lesson, we spent a lot of time deep in the weeds writing unit tests with Hardhat. You made sure your smart contracts compiled, you verified the math was perfect, and you basically confirmed that everything functions exactly as intended inside a perfectly isolated, pristine vacuum. But you've got to ask yourself, your app passed its unit tests, sure, but will it survive a traffic jam? Think about it. What happens to your entire architecture when 5,000 users try to click mint at the exact same millisecond? Does that transaction breeze through? Or does your dApp just crash, burn, and leave your entire community raging on social media?
See, unit testing just proves the thing works. It ensures the seatbelts click and the engine turns on. It's totally safe. But load testing, that proves it scales. This is your high-speed test drive out on the Autobahn. It reveals the true scalability of the design choices you've made. Did you batch your transactions properly? Are you actually minimizing state bloat? Load testing gives us the cold, hard empirical data to find out if those architecture choices hold up in the real world or if they just looked really nice on a whiteboard.
Okay, so how do we actually build this test track? We need a solid benchmarking blueprint. Step 1, and this is absolutely huge, start a local validator. We always use a local validator for safe, fast iterations so we don't take on any mainnet risk or accidentally drain real SOL. It gives you this perfectly controlled sandbox where breaking things is literally free. Step 2, create a test pair key pair. Step 3, fund that pair with a local airdrop using the Solana CLI, just so you have plenty of test LAMP ports to burn. And Step 4, initialize your project and install your dependencies. Once that foundation is poured, you're ready to start stressing the system.
Now that our track is paved and ready, we need the actual engine for this test drive. Enter the Node.js load generator script. We're going to use Node combined with the @Solana/Web3.js library to build a custom script that just fires off a massive barrage of concurrent transactions. You can think of this script as your own personal robotic army. Its one and only job is to aggressively push buttons on your dApp as fast as mathematically possible. It creates artificial chaos, and we just get to sit back, sip our coffee, and watch how the system handles the pressure. We've essentially built a control panel into this script, complete with specific knobs we can turn to dynamically dial up the stress. First up, the RPC URL. This tells our robot army where to attack. Usually we're pointed at localhost for testing, but maybe DevNet later on. Then there's concurrency. This dictates exactly how many simultaneous send attempts we're making at the exact same moment, which heavily stresses the parallelism of the network. And finally, TX count is just the total volume of transactions over the entire run. Keep in mind, if we add batching to the mix, stuffing multiple instructions into a single transaction, we completely change that per transaction workload. Tweaking these knobs lets us simulate everything from a quiet Tuesday morning to a totally chaotic, full-blown NFT mint.
Once we unleash this script and start turning those knobs, we need to know how to actually read the dashboard. The first major metric we look at is throughput. This is generally measured in TPS, or transactions per second. I like to think of this using a super simple traffic analogy. If your dApp is a highway toll booth, TPS is exactly how many cars can successfully pay their toll, get that barrier to lift, and drive through every single second. The more lanes you have open and the faster your operator processes those payments, the higher your throughput. It's a pure, raw measure of volume over time. But throughput isn't the whole story, not even close. We also have to look at latency, specifically measuring the P90 or P99 percentiles. And I really want to emphasize this. Averages will absolutely lie to you. Average latency completely hides the outliers. Percentiles, on the other hand, ask the real question. How long did the unluckiest car in that traffic jam actually have to wait? If we're measuring P99, we're looking at the maximum time it took for the fastest 99% of transactions to complete. That isolates the worst 1% of stragglers. If your P99 latency is sitting at 10 seconds, that means 1 out of every 100 users is having a miserable, laggy experience. And in Web3, a miserable experience means they abandon your dApp and go complain about you in Discord. Finding the smoke, interpreting the benchmark data. Because let's be real, collecting mountains of data is completely useless unless you actually know how to read the dials and spot the bottleneck. Let's look at what empirically happens when you crank that concurrency knob from low to high during a live test. At low concurrency, our throughput sits really nicely around 100 TPS, latency is a snappy 50 milliseconds, and the error rate is practically zero. Beautiful, right? Everything's purring perfectly. But then, look what happens at high concurrency. Throughput hits a ceiling right around 600 TPS and just flatlines. The P90 latency spikes dramatically to over 400 milliseconds. And suddenly, out of nowhere, we're seeing a 1 to 5% error rate with transactions timing out entirely. The engine is definitely smoking. The question is, where exactly is that smoke coming from?
To figure that out, we run through a specific diagnostic checklist. You have to cross-reference the transaction data you're seeing with your system resource monitoring, things like CPU usage and RPC queue length. For instance, if you've got flat TPS and low CPU usage on the validator, that's an RPC or network limit. The transactions literally cannot get to the toll booth fast enough. But if you have a saturated, completely maxed out CPU paired with high latency, well, that's a validator limit. Your toll operator is working as fast as humanly possible, but just can't keep up with the complexity of your smart contract. And if you start seeing a sharp spike in your error rate, throwing 429 too many requests, your RPC is completely overwhelmed and is actively dropping traffic. You just have to match the symptoms to the disease.
So, the crucial takeaways from this entire process are actually pretty simple. First, quantify one hypothesis at a time. Do not change 5 different variables between your test runs, or you will have absolutely zero clue which tweak actually fixed the problem. Second, always measure throughput and latency. They are two sides of the exact same performance coin. Having massive throughput is totally useless if a huge latency tail is ruining the user experience. And third, correlate your application metrics directly with your system resources. You really have to look at the whole picture to understand how your design choices perform under real pressure. Which leaves us with one final, kind of provocative question. How do we actually handle the load when the engine finally hits its absolute limit? Because let's face it, even the most optimized, highly performant dApp out there has a ceiling. In our next explainer for this module, we're going to take these benchmark outputs and dive into graceful degradation and throttling. We'll look at how to keep the car driving smoothly and keep your users informed, even when the back-end engine is completely maxed out. To learn more about this subject, dive deeper into designing resilient systems, and explore a ton of other Web3 topics, make sure you head over and visit forge.college. Keep testing, keep building, and I will see you in the next explainer.